Welcome to this installment of Creative Cabin Fever. I'm absolutely honoured to have the Clockworks on with me today. I've been a massive fan for the last entirety of lockdown, actually, when I heard Bills and Pills and I went, I like this. This is really good. And then I heard Stranded and Stansted and I was like, I like this. This is really good. And then 2 weeks ago, I found out they were from Ireland and I felt like I was a fraud. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice intro.
Thank you. So how's life in lockdown been for you guys?
It's been good for me. I suppose we can only speak for ourselves, but we've been at home in Galway. So we're living in London originally, or like for the last year, but we all went home to Galway for the last 3 months. So yeah, me and Damien are back in London now, and James is still in Galway. Really butchered that one up. Oh my God. How's it been for you?
Damien, how's it been for you?
Yeah, well, kind of the same as Sean, because we both went home at the exact same time, and it was nice to be home. Like, we've been, as Sean said, we've been here for a year and a half, and like it's been great. But it was also nice to kind of get home for a while and kind of be able to do nothing for a while. But I was starting to go a bit mad, so it's kind of good that things are getting a bit back to normal.
I think we've been really fortunate to be able to go home and to have all been safe and just sort of chill out for the most part and write what we can and talk about music and stuff. You know, just been quite lucky. We haven't suffered hugely so far. Been really fortunate. Looking forward to getting back though. Looking forward to getting back to everything, rehearsing and a semblance of normal life again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really wacky, strange time. Like, if it wasn't for this time, I never would have started these interviews. So it's kind of great, you know, if you take the positives out of it. But as well, it's been great for other people to be able to rest, you know. And you have to kind of see that balance, because you guys obviously were working super duper extra hard right before all this hit off. So it must be kind of cool to go, whew.
I don't know. Well, I think we like being full speed, you know, like, because things were forced to be slow for maybe a few years previous before we had as many opportunities as we have at the moment. So things were really just kicking off in the last year. So we were kind of gunning for it, you know, we were ready to go. And then for things to be shut down just as we were picking up speed is kind of a pain, but, you know, you'll have that.
I think even in lockdown, we kind of decided to work on sort of shift our focus as well. I think we still did as much as we could within the limits of not being able to do much at all. Release-wise and stuff, that's why we sort of got all our releases in order and stuff like that, and obviously released this song and tried to put in as much work as we could to do that and to write and stuff when we can. So it's sort of, I don't think it's not habitual for us to take it easy, because we work so hard to be busy that, I don't know, I think we're just kind of grafters.
Workhorses, as it were. You know, there's two different types of people, like workaholics and not workaholics.
Yeah.
And
exactly,
obviously this new release is phenomenal. Like, was it all done before lockdown and it just still resonates with everything so well, or is that just a happy coincidence?
Yeah, we actually came up with the song, I don't know, was it 2 years ago? Maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah, maybe before we moved to London.
Yeah.
Before we moved. Yeah.
So, I don't know. James is a psychic, I think.
Yeah. I went forward a few years in the Mind Palace. Took a look around, took some notes.
Where's the stuff going?
Made them rhyme and came straight back to 2018, showed the boys. We wrote a song. We recorded it in November last year.
Yeah.
I think, and we had it planned for release now. Then I think since then it was planned for release now. yeah, so it's just a coincidence, really,
That's amazing.
that
That's
I
just,
decided to get into a time machine and go forward 2 years. Pure coincidence.
yeah. Are you also the person that got rid of those killer hornets that were here a few weeks ago and all of a sudden just disappeared? Like, because well done.
She got stung by a wasp today, so
Oh,
Did you?
yeah, I did.
Oh.
It was really funny.
I was driving too, and he was in the passenger seat, and I put down the window to try and blow him out because I was freaking out because I was going quite fast. And I,
You sure it wasn't Damien?
yeah, just me and Damien. So I tried to try to blow the wasp out the window, and it blew into my t-shirt.
oh, you're after disconnecting. You disconnected for a minute.
Are we back?
Yes, you're
Is
back.
everyone back? Is everyone back?
Did you hear my interesting wasp story, or will I start it again?
I think we should start it again because we were in the car and the wasp was just about to do something in your sleeve. Okay.
I think it was Damien. I think
You'll
it
never
was
guess what it
Damien
was.
Damien was about to do something in the sleeve.
Yeah, Damien's the wasp in this.
Yeah.
You're really pushing that joke, James, all right? It's not funny. It's just hurtful. All right? So I'd appreciate if you could just stop.
I found it funny, so.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
As such a hard-working band, right? I'm really curious to know what you're feeling of the pros and cons of releasing during lockdown. So how do you feel about that aspect, the whole release aspect? Obviously, it was planned in advance and the song was already there. And Time Machine, we know this, but the release itself.
So we were this close to pulling the release because it was planned, and we were talking to McGee, and he kind of, we were all wondering, would anyone be listening? Do you know, it's quite a serious time. There's a lot going on in the world. What people want to hear from 4 young lads at the moment. And we decided they might. So we just said we'd throw that song out as a tester. And the way it went down was so well received that it kind of answered our question for us that it was the right time.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was.
I agree. I find I'm submerging myself in music now more than ever. So actually, to be honest, if it wasn't for lockdown, I never would have heard you guys. You know?
Yeah, so like artists might be afraid that they'd be, you know, feeling like they might be feeling like they might try and distract people from what's going on, but people actually want to be distracted at the moment, I think.
Mm.
And it's accidentally so resonant with the moment. Like, that's why I love you guys. You're so raw and you talk about really important things that people probably aren't thinking about correctly or weren't thinking about correctly before lockdown. Like Bills and Pills, like that's how everyone should be seeing the world now, is it's not a rat race. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that you're able to put all that into such a raw format and do it so well, to me, that's amazing.
That's what we do.
Thank you.
And thank you.
So obviously you were signed to Creation 23, which is just a massive, massive, massive achievement. What does that feel like?
Yeah, it was such a kind of crazy thing because we planned to move to London. You know, for kind of, we had always talked about it like every now and again, but we actually planned it maybe a year before we actually moved or something. And the week that we moved, Sean sent Alan a message, just kind of sending him a song, as I'm sure we've probably sent him loads before that, but he happened to see this one, heard the song, Bills and Pills, he loved it. And he was coming, next thing we know, he's coming to a rehearsal room to see us, because we were like so recently in London that we didn't even have a gig planned. So we just booked the fanciest rehearsal room in Mill Hill, which, you know, set us back about 30 quid or something.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was very expensive.
Yeah, and but we made sure to get the biggest one, and just kind of essentially put on like a gig for just Alan and his business partner. And it was weird because we had watched documentaries of Alan Gee and of Oasis and like of all his bands that he signed in the original creation. Like back in Galway, we were watching all these documentaries, and just to see this man standing in front of us, watching us play music and nodding. Like, the best part is that he's so involved, and like he's always texting, and you know he'll have like a brainwave about something that's like, oh, we should do this at this time, and he's always talking to us, and it doesn't feel like, you know, we're just signed to this label and just kind of left to do our own thing. It's so collaborative, and you can tell even now he still loves what he does, and it comes across in how he does it. He's still the same man that we saw in the documentaries.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story about manifesting a dream right there. Like, that's just mind-blowing. Like,
Yeah, very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
luck has very little to do with that. You're hardworking, talented young men. That's what that is. Luck is non-existent.
Preparation means timing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I always ask this question to musicians because I'm really, really interested in what your gateway drug to the rock and roll industry was. So I like to know what the first song you fell in love with it was. Now my internet keeps fading in and out, which is really unusual. That's never happened before. So everyone just be patient with that process. But
No worries.
we start with Sean.
Yeah, so what is it, our first song that we fell in love with?
Please.
I usually like to say Golden Brown by the Stranglers. I have good memories of that with my dad. I don't know, driving in a car. He's like very good music taste and definitely set me up for my life and what I listen to. But that song that's my like take off on a flight song because I'm a relatively nervous flyer. It's just blast in my headphones and close my eyes and get lost in the sounds of that song. But I just love it so much.
That was my daddy-daughter song at my wedding, actually.
No way! Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a nice one.
I'd say for me it was I when I was younger I didn't really like love music. I don't know. I just didn't know enough. I kind of heard what was on the radio and stuff, but I always used to love kind of like Elvis and, you know, the Beatles, the ones that the greats that you'd always hear. So like they always kind of stood out to me as actually being, you know, great music, because I suppose that's what they were pushed as. But then when I started actually when I kind of joined the band and the lads kind of started showing me music and I started listening to more bands, and one at the very start, one song that like I hadn't heard was a Certain Romance by the Arctic Monkeys. And like just that whole first album kind of changed how I saw bands. But then that as an ender is just kind of one of my favorite enders of any album. I don't know, just like there's obviously Alex Turner's lyrics are amazing, but just the music around it just really sets the scene of the lyrics. And I think that's something we kind of try to achieve as well, is we try to like write our music to, you know, fit the lyrics that James writes and kind of like tell a story altogether. And I think that was like one of the first songs I heard that was like, I kind of get it, you know, it kind of made me see music a different way.
I think one of the first memory, I'm like Sean, I always say this one, but I'm actually not sure if it is the first. But Starman, David Bowie, is one that I remember running around the sitting room when I lived in London, screaming at the top of my lungs with my dad and mum and sister. Yeah, that song, I've always loved that song. I think I actually love it more than I did then, but even then it always sort of that kind of groove in the verse and stuff used to always get me. I don't know. I've no idea why. You know, when you're 3 years old, you don't know why you like anything, but that song always stuck out with me, to me.
Yeah, I know David Bowie's hard to pass on really as first loves. Like he's just so intergalactic, you know what I mean? There's just something so strong about that whole persona, how you can just morph into a different being in order to release music. That's magic.
Yeah, he was really, really good at that. Really good at like literally changing, like, because changing his name to be David Bowie in the first place, and then changing his name to Ziggy Stardust, etc. I thought was really, like, as a child, it's just magical. It's just like, you know, Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or something. But then even when, as you get older and you sort of realize what exactly he did, it's really smart. It's cool. It's different.
Yeah, it is. It's so smart. When I'm interviewing artists of different genres, like sculptors or painters, I always ask them how they pick their medium. I've never tried this question on a band before, but I realized that it might be an important question that people don't ask. So how did you pick your instrument or find your voice? What was the reason for choosing the part you play in each band?
That's actually a question that we haven't been asked before, which is cool. I, for one, started on drums and played drums for like 10 years. And then when me and James started playing together in school, we were without a drummer and without a second guitarist. So we thought it might be easier to rope Damien in, who didn't really play drums, and I could learn guitar. I don't know why we thought that would be easier, but James showed me how to play guitar, and I kind of helped Damien along. I had my drum kit and all, you know. So that's kind of, I fell into guitar and pulled Damien along with drums.
Yeah, like he kind of said it there, but we went to school together, so kind of Sean did music as a subject, and sometimes when he had practicals and things to do, he'd bring the drums in and he'd be playing them all through break, and it was something I was interested in. Well, like when not before Sean brought them in, but when I saw them all set up and then playing them, I was like, that's really cool. But like still never something I thought of like going and learning myself really. But then they just kind of, you know, give me a text one day being like, we're going out to the shed to have a bit of crack, do you want to come? And I started on the cajon, you know, like the box that you see buskers play. I kind of started from there and like learned as I went, and that, you know, Sean's kind of the same with guitar. Yeah.
When I was about 12, I had to stay at home for a few months, and I didn't have much to do. I couldn't really leave the house at the time, so I watched a lot of movies, Friday Night Western on TG Car, and once I sort of I got bored of watching movies. I read a lot, but then my dad showed me, my dad's always had guitars, and he showed me a piece of paper that had a few like chord charts on it, and gave me one of the guitars and said to take a look at that. And I didn't think too much of it, but I just sort of took a look and started learning a couple of chords, and then suddenly I was playing for like 4 hours a day. I probably played a lot more then than I do now even. I was just obsessed with guitar. And then writing wise and singing, I guess I just started writing words of some description around 12 or 13, and kept doing it until suddenly there were songs that needed singing. So it all sort of fell in, really. All three of us kind of in the instruments we play with the Clockworks, all three of us sort of fell into at least one of them. It's funny.
That's really cool. I'm so happy I asked that question because I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I'll try this out. We'll see how we feel. But actually, those are really interesting answers. So I'm delighted I asked it.
Yeah.
I'm also really curious. Obviously, you're one of my lockdown jams. Who have your lockdown jams been?
I have a bit of a problem at the moment with a song by the Dubliners called Mercy and Durkin, and I can't stop listening to that song. It's driving me crazy. I wake up and I hear it in the morning. Like, I've been when I was at home, driving my family crazy. I'd walk into the kitchen singing that song, but it was on Clare FM one day, and it just stuck in my head. And I read the lyrics, and they're hilarious. They're so stupid, but being honest, that is probably the best representation of lockdown I have in a song.
Madness. I don't know. That's a really kind of tough one, because I've listened to so much since I've been home, because I was at home for 3 months. Like, it's hard to pick one. A band that we were kind of liking even before lockdown, and I've just started listening to them again in the last week, is Do Nothing. They're from, I don't know where they're from actually. No, they're from England.
Nottingham, I think.
Nottingham, maybe. And we were set to play a festival with them, and I was like looking forward to seeing them live, but they have some really good tunes, so I'm liking them at the minute.
I can't stop listening to Sympathy for the Devil. I can't stop. It's like the Dubliners one with Sean.
I'm also on the Rolling Stones as well.
Oh, wait, the Rolling Stones. Yeah, that song just, it's like I heard it for the first time like 2 months ago, and it just hit me. Like, it kind of, I got, like, I'd always liked that song, obviously, but it kind of just hit me or something, which is a great feeling when you know a song, you think you know a song well, and you think you know where it lies in your sort of, you know, your list of favorites and all that, and then suddenly like hits you and it's like, whoa, this song is amazing. Sympathy for the Devil.
I've been having that experience too. I'm calling it rediscovering songs for the first time, because like obviously I know them, I know their soul, but for whatever reason right now I'm actually having the full time to immerse myself in music, so I am rediscovering them for the first time because there's nothing else to it.
I think that's a good point, actually. I think maybe that is it, because that's the type of song that you hear everywhere. So like Sympathy for the Devil, and you would have heard everywhere forever. So you don't expect yourself, you don't give yourself a chance to immerse yourself in it. And I think that's what I did, was stick on the headphones, lie down, and just give it a proper, like, give it its juice. And it's a brilliant song. Kind
of like Stairway to Heaven. Do you know, it's like one of those songs that's quote like overplayed, but when you actually sit down and listen to it, there's a reason it's overplayed. It's because it's so good.
I've been listening to all the works of Mike Oldfield again, like truly listening to them, not just the way I used to listen to them on my dad's lap, like actually giving this a whack and trying to understand the creative genius behind Mike Oldfield and going, wow.
Yeah, that's one good thing that's coming out of lockdown. I think there's time to do things like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. I have one more question, I think, before I leave you go, and I'm so happy you took the interview, but I'm really interested in how band dynamics work. Obviously, I'm a promoter and I used to be a manager, so I'm still trying to come to grips with the idea of how bands work and why they don't work. Pros and cons of being a four-piece.
Can fit in a car. Oh, the boys are gone, I think.
The boys are gone again. I'm not sure. Let's just have a chat for a minute then. So you can sit in the car together, James. That's really interesting.
You can. Yeah, and you can fit a manager in too, if you're lucky. We get all our stuff, the four of us and our gear, into a car. Like Tetris.
That is pretty handy. I am obsessed with two-piece bands, for instance. So they definitely fit in a car.
They definitely do. Two-piece is sweet. You know the band Sleaford Mods? Do you know them?
Yeah.
I think they only carry, like, their gear is like a mic stand and a laptop. So they can hop in a two-seater and just throw the gear in the boot. Brilliant.
I think the boys have disconnected, James, so it's just me and you. And yes, that is brilliant. I love Death from Above. They'd be my third favourite band of all time. And one of the reasons I love them so much is because until I saw them live, I had utterly no idea it was possible for a two-piece to make that much noise.
That is the thing with two pieces. I think that's like that's like the big one. Like, who's Royal Blood? That's what I think everyone says about them too. Because they make a lot of noise. Two pieces that make the sound of like a 4-piece or a 10-piece band, whatever. It's just like crazy.
Yeah, it makes a massive.
I think 4-piece is kind of rarer than, not rare. I think there are a lot of there's a lot of 2-pieces, 3-pieces, 5-pieces around now, more than there were. So I think 4-piece is less standard than it would have been. It's surprising. Like there's a lot of seems to see a lot of 3 and 5-pieces around now.
Yeah, or 8 pieces and 12 pieces.
Or huge. Yeah. Yeah. We know a couple of 7, 8-piece bands. It's crazy.
It is. It's really, really crazy. I love that though. I love the changing dynamics. The boys are trying to come back in, but I'm not sure it's working. So I'd say it was their internet and not mine all along. So I feel a little less crap because I was feeling like really unprofessional. I was like, oh God, I worked so hard. This is going to be bad. Yeah, this is good.
I'm sure there are more reasons why being a 4-piece is good.
Do you find you have to compromise a lot as a 4-piece? Because obviously as a 2-piece, you're a lot more solid in your unit. I'd imagine as a 9-piece or a 12-piece, it's an utter nightmare. But let me
that's a good question. Possibly. It's hard to get a frame. We've only played as 4.
Okay.
We've only really played as the 4 of us. So I think we played those 3 of us for a very short while, but I think
Oh, they're trying to come back in, but it's all garbled.
oh my God.
You know. It's not working. It doesn't matter. Yeah, so the 4-piece thing.
Yeah, I think we know what we all do. I think if you know what you bring, it doesn't matter too much. It's fine. I think if there's too many chiefs, not enough Indians kind of thing, I'm sure anything over like 3-piece is crazy. That's why 2-pieces probably work, or 3-pieces work quite well. Because it's, like you said, it's sort of, decisions could be made quickly. But I think we're all right. We're happy with 4 of us.
Yeah, no, I think you do an amazing job. Like genuinely blown away by the fact you'd even let me interview you because I'm such a massive fan. Like
That's great.
Love what you do. Really do. Talked
Thank
about you constantly all the time before I even knew you were Irish. So
that is brilliant. Where did you think we're English? Do you think we're
yeah,
English?
I thought you were English. Yeah.
To be fair, I was born in England.
So that makes sense. Exactly.
So yeah, and moved when I was 11 or 12. And Tom was born in England. So half the band are English. So you weren't wrong.
But either way, I would have loved to interview you guys. But when I found out that you were from Ireland originally, that made me even more interested because, you know, there's so much talent in this country. I would like to showcase it all. And that's kind of what I'm doing, I think.
That's great. That's such a good thing to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add to the interview? Obviously, the boys are gone now, so you've done a very good job as their spokesperson.
Thank you. There's a new single out, Future Is Not What It Was. So that's on Spotify now. Beautiful. Thank you. And if you want to follow us, we're on Instagram at the Clockworks Band. Any more updates should be there.
Perfect. And I should be releasing my review of your song during the week. So you'll have a little short video of me talking about how much I love you.
Thank you. That's great. Looking forward to it.
I'm just going to stop the interview now.